people shouting at each other about what stocks to buy, all this and that. And it is, I told my wife that that show is now the most watched show in the history of CNBC. She said, congratulations, you're the world's tallest midget. It isn't that widely watched. It's actually watched by people who are obsessed about money. However, in this case, the effect was amazing. What they did was I was in a different location, so I was just staring at a camera. But Brad Katsuyama, creator of this new fair exchange, was put next to the head of the BATS exchange, which is, one of the less fair exchanges. And the BATS person came out, he was very rude. He was this, he's screaming, and it was, his behavior was not behavior you would expect of a corporate CEO. And he lied. He said things about his business that were not true that got him in trouble with the New York Attorney General. But it was about complicated stuff, so he thought he'd probably get away with it. But the great thing was that Brad Katsuyama kind of put up with it for a little bit, and they turned to him and said, you want to do this, let's do this. And he took him apart in so many ways. And so this is what I was told, because I was on the show, because it's all secondhand. But I did see, so they were sitting on this floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and as they're going at it, the traders, the people who were used to be traders in the New York Stock Exchange, stop and start cheering everything Brad Katsuyama was saying. They actually carried him off out of the building. The trading floors on Wall Street apparently stopped. A friend of mine, a guy I know, who is a senior person at Goldman Sachs, said he's never seen anything like it. He was on the floor, he was on the big trading floor in New York at Goldman Sachs. He said nobody answered phones. Everybody was staring at these two guys going at each other. And he said he was sitting there watching it, and the guy next to him, an old crusty Goldman Sachs guy, said, so Goldman Sachs owns a part of BATS. They're an investor in BATS. And all the exchanges are owned basically by the middlemen, one way or the other. So the old crusty guy goes, so the angry guy, he says, is it true we own $150 million of his exchange? And my brother goes, yeah, he goes, and the little guy, Brad's very short, he goes, the little guy, we don't own any of his exchange? No, he goes, we're fucked. All of Wall Street looked at that show and said, we're fucked. because you could just see who was telling the truth. And so you have now. So what is this story about? To me, at bottom, it's about a man who is trustworthy walking into a vacuum of trust, an environment in which no one trusts anybody, rightfully so. And he behaves in a trustworthy fashion. And it is an incredibly radical act. It so screws up the system to have an honest man on Wall Street. And someone who is actually trying to act in the interests of investors, as opposed to maximize the quarterly earnings or his bonus or whatever. It's about restoring trust. There is a poisoned relationship right now between the financial sector and the rest of the society across the industrialized world. And this guy, he's touched the third rail by going where he's going, without being completely aware of what he was doing. But by making himself trustworthy, he creates enormous problems for the system.